A young family is killed in a head-on collision in Albany County. Ranchers oppose the reintroduction of bighorn sheep to central Wyoming. And for Wyoming's Pumpkin King, growing giant gourds is a year-round job. We'll take a look at these stories and more today from Wyoming's largest news organization. I'm Wendy Corr for Cowboy State Daily. A young Laramie mother and father, along with their 5-month-old baby, were killed Saturday in a head-on collision in Albany County. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland said that in addition to claiming the lives of Joshua Medeiros and Haley Rainey and their child, the collision injured 3 others and killed a horse that was in a trailer involved in the crash.
The Jeep contained this young family, the 2 21-year-olds and their 4 or 5-month-old baby. The Jeep tried to pass a vehicle in front, collided with a Chevy truck hauling 4 horses and a horse trailer. A horse trailer went toward the South Barrow Ditch, hitting a car in its front bumper along the way. 1 horse died, and then the Jeep and the Chevy both went the opposite direction off the road.
Fundraising efforts are underway to help the families of the young people who died in the crash. The Wyoming Department of Transportation wants to jumpstart its program to build out a network of electric vehicle charging stations with federal money. However, some concerns have arisen over the pace of Wyoming's rollout, perhaps because it only has 800 registered EV owners, amongst the lowest of any state. And as Cowboy State Daily's Pat Mayo reports, other roadblocks have arisen recently.
There's been some reports, quite literally over the weekend, that the Biden administration may be putting on hold, or at least slowing down, some of the emission standards, which would have kind of spurred along more manufacture of EVs in general in the U.S. And they're slowing it down because there's a lot of challenges with just having these automakers make more EVs and churn them off the production line.
A full review is still underway on the next steps in the EV build-out process in Wyoming. With only 20 days allotted in a budget session, bills can die a quick death. After the first week of the 2024 session that was completed Friday, 172 bills either failed to be introduced or were not considered at all, according to Cowboy State Daily's Leo Wolfson.
All the bills that had basically no chance of passing are now dead, as the introduction to receive an introduction was last Friday. So now where we're kind of at is things are getting more interesting, you could say. The budget building negotiations are going into full swing. Both chambers did their second readings today. And then the bills that are remaining that are not the budget have until Wednesday to pass through committee.
All of the bills remaining at this point have already received initial approval from at least 2/3 of a House and will only need a majority approval moving forward. I'll be back with more news right after this.
Nominate a Wyoming Unsung Hero for the 2024 Jefferson Awards by Serve Wyoming. Celebrate those who put others first and uplift their communities. Deadline for nominations is February 29th. Honor the best in our state across 7 categories. Join us in recognizing the hope, persistence, and passion that define the Jefferson Awards' 50-year legacy. Call 307-234-3428 to nominate an outstanding volunteer and be part of the spirit of service in Wyoming.
Well, despite the best of intentions, bringing bighorn sheep back to the remote Sweetwater Rocks area in central Wyoming is a bad idea. That's what a local rancher told Cowboy State Daily's Mark Hines, who reports that even if Senate File 118 passes, landowners fear it won't be enough to stop federal agencies from using bighorn sheep as leverage to push cattle and sheep off grazing leases.
Even with, we've got this bill, Senate File 118, to offer some protections for ranchers, like the Game and Fish would have to come in and, trap and relocate any sheep that got too close to domestic livestock. The ranchers are saying, still, how is that going to stop the feds from pushing us around?
However, a supporter of the bill told Cowboy State Daily that the bill would protect ranches from any federal action that's caused by the presence of bighorn sheep in the area. And growing massive pumpkins is a year-round project for Jay Richard of Worland, the Pumpkin King of Wyoming. Cowboy State Daily's Andrew Rossi reports that on Monday, Jay was in his 85-degree greenhouse mowing his lawn.
It's what he calls a cover crop. It's cereal rye. And the whole idea is he lets it grow, he mows it, and he lets it sit there. So as he gets closer to planting the pumpkin, he's going to take the rotting grass cuttings and mix them into the soil to enhance the soil's biodiversity and all the biologic processes in there, so that his already massive pumpkins can grow even more massive.
Richard planted the seeds of last year's pumpkins May 4th. This year, he's aiming for an early April planting. And that's today's news. Get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by hitting the subscribe button on CowboyStateDaily.com. I'm Wendy Corr for Cowboy State Daily.